shine your light, shine, shine, shine your light.
Hello, it's Nancy Maddox with WYTV7 Christian Broadcasters Network out of Charlotte. We're recording today. We have a very special guest. WYTV Christian Broadcasting Network is in Charlotte, and I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas, and our guest is from Alabama today. So I'm so excited to introduce our guest. First off, she's a very special friend of mine. I love this lady. She's been through trials and tribulations like you wouldn't believe. She is a domestic violence survivor, almost died through domestic violence, so she is a survivor. She's a graduate from the Alabama State University. She is a published author of 2 books. She is also an entrepreneur and a Black CEO, which is fantastic. I'm going to start off with questions. Her name is Bridget Yelder. Bridget, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Miss Nancy. I'm glad to be on the show.
Well, that's fantastic. You have such an awesome story and testimony to tell. I want to get started because we only have 30 minutes. Also, I forgot to mention that Miss Bridget started Divine Excellence, which is a publishing institution where she published books for other authors. She's been very successful with that. So I'm very, very excited to let her shine her light today, and let's get the word out so we can make people know about Miss Yelder and all of the wonderful things that she does. Miss Bridget, can you tell us about your business and your organization and what all you do?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, thank you again for having me this morning. I'm so excited to be here with you. The name of the business, as you stated, is Divine Excellence Consulting. And what we do is we work with authors who are new to writing, who never knew that they were able to actually publish their works. We're giving them the platform to be able to tell their stories of victory. Just as I have done myself, I felt the need to share that gift with other people, to be able to give them the opportunity to tell their stories as well. As I know that it's a liberating experience for the author and for the readers to be able to share their stories with the world. And what we do is we basically bring them in, we coach them through the process. Writing is something that's meticulous, so we actually walk them through the entire process of writing the book all the way to completion. And we are just excited to be able to offer that to people all over the country. And I'm just excited to be able to do that.
Well, thank you, Bridget. And I understand that you may have one international client too. So it's really going to be all over the world when this catches on. So I'm very excited about that.
Yes.
Also, with Divine Excellence, not only are you helping them publish their stories and publish their books, you're also placing their books in Kindle format on Amazon and on Books A Million. So you're actually broadcasting their books and helping them market their books as they go along too, which is fantastic. It's an awesome, awesome task that you've taken on, because everyone has a story. Everyone has a story. And, you know, that's what we want to read. We want to read real talk, real life situations, because inevitably we always run into people's stories that are just like ours, and we're not so alone. So thank you so much for that, Bridget. Also, I wanted to know what inspired you to start your organization?
Well, my inspiration is my life. The fact that I have overcame so many challenges and trials and situations that have come to just basically stop me in my tracks. My life has inspired me to keep pushing. On 8 years ago, I was almost murdered. And that was a life-changing experience for me, to the point where I really thought that was something. I really thought I was in a dream or something. And I really just was so distraught by that, to the point where when I got through it, I was like, if I could get through that, then I could do anything. I have an aunt, she told me, she said, you're a praying woman, and since you're a praying woman, you could do anything. So don't ever stop there. And that was my inspiration. And also seeing the need to reach back to the people who have experienced domestic violence. It's just overwhelming. Domestic violence is such a big issue in the world, not just the United States, in the world, all over. Right now, there's a woman that may die today from domestic violence. This is not something, domestic violence is almost as crucial as cancer in the world. And that means that that's a problem. And we all that have overcame that problem, we have a voice, and we need to speak out and stand against domestic violence.
Jim and Eddie, thank you, Bridget. Wow. You know, it is a worldwide problem, domestic violence, and it's not only women, it's children as well as males too that experience domestic violence. And it goes way back. I mean, I'm 63 years old, and my father was a domestic violence abuser of my mother. So I haven't even ever told that story, but it affects you, your entire life. It affects your children's lives. I know my brother and sister really have never, ever gotten over the childhood that we had. I mean, I'm a very strong person, and I was able to overcome it and move on with my life. But my brother and sister still, to this day, have issues with relationships and everything. So it's really a sad thing. Also, can you tell us a little bit about your Domestic Violence Foundation? I know you have one, and you also have another ministry in Alabama with your mother's church. I'd like you to elaborate on those two a little bit too, if you would.
Thank you. Well, the organization that I have to advocate against domestic violence is called Enough. Enough stands. I'm the word is slipping my mind. Is Enough stands for educating, nurturing, outstanding, uplifting, godly homes. I'll say it again. It stands for educating, nurturing, outstanding, uplifting, godly homes. And back in like 2012, I was inspired to start this organization. I really didn't know what exactly to do, but I just knew that I had to do something. I didn't necessarily have this great master plan, but I knew that I had lived through some horrific experiences, and it was my duty. It was my God-given assignment to give back and find a way to stop. So I started the group on Facebook, and we've been around since 2012, and we've actually been able to, privately consult with people, because domestic violence is not something that you can really deal with and blast it publicly, because some people's lives are in danger. Since I've been dealing with the organization, I've had 2 young ladies to actually die that I know personally, and it really, really affected me greatly, because I know one of the young ladies was my next door neighbor, and one of the young ladies grew up in church with me, and they both, one of the young ladies' mother reached out to me, privately to help her. And I just was thankful that I could be in that place. I'm still, connected with her. She's my sister in Christ, and I'll always be connected with her to help her, get through that process, because it's very painful to lose your child. But not only to lose your child, but to lose your child to domestic violence. And my mother's church is called Carrying Out the Call Christian Ministry. She is the pastor. I'm the praise and worship leader there. I sing. That's something that I love to do when I'm not all stuffy like I am today. Church has been my foundation in life. God has been my foundation. And without God, I would not be here today. God is everything to me. God has given me a personal relationship that I cannot explain. Well, I could explain it, but the relationship that I have with God is so special to me, and I love God with all of me. I do everything that I do in love for God because God loved me. He spared me. I didn't know if I would make it through those situations, but because of God, I was able to make it through and stand and help others.
Wow, Bridget, it's even more heartache and more pain than really I guess I realized, and I'm so proud of you. You are a winner. You're a survivor, and you do so much to help other people. You can tell that God speaks to you in everything that you do. And you did mention that you do sing too. I do love to call you a songbird because you have a beautiful voice. I've heard you sing before, and I just really think that you have so much talent. I'm just so pleased to be interviewing you and so pleased that you are my special friend. Let's see. What's the mission of Divine Excellence Consulting?
Our mission at Divine Excellence Consulting is to fulfill our purpose through service. And when I think of that, because someone served me and they gave me the opportunity to become an author, and in that capacity, I feel like each one teach one. So once I was able to become an author, it's my duty to serve the next person. Because there are people all over the world that have a story that may be afraid to tell the story. I know some of my friends, they would never talk about it. It's too much. It's it's too much to bear talking about the pain of the past. But the one thing that I want to focus on mainly is the joy of the future. It's not so much the pain of the past. It's where I was, but where I've come to. God has brought me to a great place and a great time in my life, not because of material things, but because of who I am on the inside. I was a person that, could just, the pain was so much on me. It was hard for me to break through. But once I did break through, I saw that I could give that to somebody else. I saw that God could use me to be the light to shine in somebody else's darkness. And I just love to shine your light because there is light in all of us. And that is our mission at Divine Excellence is to fulfill our purpose through service.
Oh, Bridget, you know what? It's so true, and I'm so excited about my venture and my radio show and my foundation, Shine Your Light. God gave that to me, and I've known all about shining your light since I was a little child. I'm not much of a singer, but I did sing in church when I was a kid. One of my favorite songs my sister and I used to sing was hide your light under a bushel. I'm going to let it shine. And then we did that all the time. And that just kept coming back to me as I was trying to think of what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And that's why Shine Your Light came to me. And I'm so excited that it's really allowing other people to shine their light, because that's really what it's all about. And also, I love your statement, the joy of the future, because joy is one of my favorite words in the whole vocabulary. And I found a saying the other day. I posted it on Facebook. It was called Joy Warriors. And it was talking about how I'm a joy warrior because that's what I do. I try to spread joy and hope and faith to everyone that I ever meet, and I'm grateful that God's given me the tools to do that. And you have that too. You have that special light where you can spread joy and you can teach people that there is joy. There is life after all of this. So I think that's just fantastic. We're going to switch gears a little bit here, and we're going to talk about your books that you've published. You don't happen to have them right there near you, do you?
Unfortunately, I don't. I do have some. I forgot to sit them next to me, but
Okay,
um,
I just wanted you to hold them up and show them, but we'll post them on Facebook and make sure everybody sees them. Let's start with the first book, which is a book of poetry that you published. Let's start with that one. Let's just put that book and then the next one, okay?
okay. Excuse me 1 second. I'm sorry. I have a little cold. I'm sorry. Um, my first book is called The Well Experience. And basically that book is the beginning of a series. I look back over my life, and the way that I was inspired to tell my story was as if I was the woman at the well that Jesus spoke to in the Bible. I was inspired because when Jesus met her, he asked her where was her husband. And she said, well, sir, I don't have a husband. And he said, you're right. He said, you don't have a husband. And the men before you were not your husbands either. And so I thought about all of the relationships that I've been through, which equated to I've had 6 major relationships. So that woman was in a bad relationship, and she had 5 men prior to her at that time. And she just had been going through bad relationships with men over and over and over again, and basically trying to find herself in those relationships. So I could relate to that, because even though I did get married, it was a bad relationship. And the relationship cycle just kept going, kept going. I kept trying to find that love in a relationship that really was in me. And that was my well experience. I had a relationship building session with God over all these years, and that's what my well experience is about. And in that book, I talk about my marriage, and I also talk about how I was able to get through that and find out that the thing that I was looking for was not found in another person. It's actually found within me. And I also share my poetry in that book as well. I've been writing poetry since I was 12. One poetry contest, writing has always been a part of my world. It's even trickled down to my children. They love to write as well. And so that's how I started the first book. The second book is called I Got Away, which is a continuation of the series, because it's no way that I could write my entire life in one book. That would be a mini series. So I decided just to consider it a book series. And I Got Away is the second part of the series that I wrote. And in that book, that was the book that really took me there, because I've experienced some horrific treatment through and with domestic violence. And it's like when I sit and think about that, I could not ever be quiet and not share the victory of coming through that, because God has been with me the entire time.
Wow, Bridget. Your books are really, really great. I am going to post them on in Shine Your Light Facebook page again, and I want you to post them too. Your book is needed to be read by many, many people, especially domestic violence victims. They need to understand the victory that can come and the joy that can be in their life. But it is a breakthrough to get through that. It's just a terrible, horrible experience. Um, then wanted to talk a little bit too about how you were able to overcome those very difficult challenges that you had. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, please?
Absolutely. Like I said before, without God, I would not be able to get through it. With God and being introduced to people like you, Miss Nancy, over time, God does things so meticulously. And while you're going through, you may feel like, why is this happening to me? Like, for me, I never treated people badly. I was never taught to do that. So that was my big question. Why is this happening to me? And I had to reflect and think about Jesus. When Jesus walked the earth, he was persecuted the entire time. And all he did was heal people, save people, feed people, deliver people. And he was persecuted the entire time. And so that helped me. I had my uncle, before he passed away, he told me, he said, you know, they talked about Jesus Christ, so they're going to talk about you. And so when we embody the spirit of God in our lives, that's to be expected. It's to be expected, but it also gives us a hope. The scripture says that, yes, we will have trouble, but we can joy in the fact that we will be delivered from them all. So I always knew that not only I can go to God and say, God, I need you to help me get through this. And with a support system of people that surrounded me, people like you, Miss Nancy, saw things in me that I didn't see in myself prior to this time. Like if you would have asked me 10 years ago, would I be in this place today? I would probably tell you no. I've done things that have just astounded me in the victories that I've had in my life. And because I've had those victories, I'm able to stand and share that with other people and tell them, if I made it through, you can do the same thing. God is not a respecter of person. If he did it for Bridget, he can do it for you. And my greatest victory is to always tell him thank you by my actions. I say to God, thank you by going to somebody else and helping them. I tell God, thank you by just overcoming the challenges that come at me on a day. I'm not exempt from challenges now, but I can still push through that because I know that with God, all things are possible.
Yes, ma'am. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Shine Your Light Radio Ministry on WYTV7 in Charlotte, and I'm in Little Rock. We have a very special guest today. You'll have to go back and listen to the entire interview. Her name is Miss Bridget Yelder. She is a survivor, a domestic violence survivor, and an awesome person. She has Divine Excellence Consulting, which helps people create their books and publish their books and publish their stories. And she also has Enough, which is a domestic violence foundation. And she's also a published author of 2 books. So I'm so excited to have you today. Miss Bridget, we only have a few minutes left, and I want to go over a little bit about, I want you to tell us a little bit about your children. You have some successful children also. I'd like for you to share a little bit about what they're doing and how they're helping you with Divine Excellence Consulting. And also one of them is a published author too. So please share a little bit about your pride and joy.
Absolutely, absolutely. I can say the greatest gift out of all my life is my children. My children were my team. I have 3 children, 2 daughters and a son. My son is the comedian. He keeps me smiling and he keeps me happy with his personality. My oldest daughter, her name is Michaela. Michaela is the author. She is an amazing poet. And she took writing from me. It was like, I never knew how amazing of an author she was until she showed me her poetry when she was like 15 years old. And she was writing things. I'm like, who told you those words? Like, where did you get that from? And she's such an amazing writer. Because as they went through life, not only did domestic violence affect me, it affected my children. It affected the things that happened. Michaela was the child that was in the house when I was almost murdered. The guy that I was dating at the time, his goal was to come there, kill me, and leave me dead for her to find me. But she came home in the middle of all of that happening. And so it was really, really, really terrifying for Michaela to go through that. So she wrote a book that's called Personal. And her book, she just walks you through her life in a very personal way and shares, some of her most deepest moments, because Michaela's not a big talker. She'll talk to you, but she will not, just connect with you. But her words are great. They're just powerful and they're able to connect. Brianna is also a writer. That's my baby daughter. She's also a writer, and she's looking at me every day at what I do. And she's like, Mama, I got to join you too. So we're working with Brianna to get her writing published as well. And that's just, my children are always my biggest why in my life besides myself. Yeah, I had to make myself my why. But my children are next to God in my life. And I'm just definitely happy to have them as my main support system.
Well, on top of everything else, you were a single parent too. So that's it's just amazing how far you've come and how good God has been to you and your family. It's so exciting and it's refreshing to hear you talk. And we're almost out of time, but I wanted to ask you one more question. Then I want you to share your contact information with us. How will you use divine excellence to shine your light throughout the world?
Well, absolutely. Divine Excellence was a name given to me by God, and definitely the way that I would use Divine Excellence to shine my light is to ultimately continue to help others who have stories like myself to take their stories and create their literary works to be able to tell their stories in a way that will be powerful and effective, most effective, and just help them to be able to actually break through, because writing is not always just for the reader, it's also for the author. In writing your story, you're going to confront some very painful things in your life, and you'll also be able to be delivered and break through, because as you help heal somebody else, you'll break through as well. I've done it so many times, and I'm continuing to do that. That is my gift. God gave me those gifts of persecution to be able to share my gift of life with other people. I wrote yesterday on Facebook that our lights on the inside was created to comprehend the darkness. We cannot hide our light. You can't hide a light. Even if you cover a light with a blanket, you will always see the light. The blanket, you will always see the light through the blanket. I don't care if it's a black blanket, you will always see the light. So the way that I'm going to use divine excellence, divine means without human assistance, and excellence is my part. I can work in divine excellence because I have God, and I can give God my very best through helping other people. I'm fulfilling my purpose, and everyone on the team, we're fulfilling our purpose through service. Even my authors, they're going out and sharing the mission of divine excellence with other people all over the world, letting them know that we are here to get the message out, to share with the world what we have in our life.
Well, you're just a beacon of light, Miss Bridget, and I love you. You're one of my very most special friends in the world. We have a divine relationship, you and I appreciate you so much. Can you please share with us your contact information so everyone can get a hold of you?
Absolutely. If you need to contact me, my phone number is 470-509-9465. My email address is my name, Bridget Yelder, @gmail.com. For any related issues to Divine Excellence, you can email that. Or if you would like to email us at teamdivineexcellence@gmail.com as well, you'll be able to email me there. You can always find me on Facebook. I love Facebook. You can always find me on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. All the social media. I'm a social media queen. I love it. You can always find me there. And I'm here. I'm available. I'm reachable. You know, if someone is going through any type of domestic violence situation and you need help to get out, please contact me. Please reach out to me, and we will find a way to get you to a safe place.
Well, thank you so much, Miss Bridget. Again, we are broadcasting. This broadcast is brought to you by WYTV7 Christian Broadcasting Network in Charlotte. The radio show is Shine Your Light Ministry, and we have actually been in a beautiful place today with Bridget Yelder shining her light and making herself known to the world. She has so much to offer and so much that she can do for everyone. Her heart is as big as Texas, and we just are so excited to have you, Miss Bridget. I thank you again so much for being on the show, and the show will be broadcast this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be posting the post on Facebook, so please go and listen to the interview on WYTV7, the Christian Broadcasting Network. Thank you so much, okay? I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Shine, shine, shine your light. Shine, shine, shine your light.